Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cheap Seats Gaming. I am Scott, and today we are back at it with MLB Power Pros 2008 and your Jacksonville Pelicans. Two things you'll notice right away: my voice sounded better. Part of my absence the last few days, I had to rest my voice. It was getting really bad. So I was just trying to give it a break. So it is back to 100%. The other thing you're going to notice is the music sounds way different than it does. Guys, I'm going to be honest. I fell way behind for where I had hoped to be as far as finishing season 1 of Pelican baseball. MLB for real playoffs are in the LCS as I'm recording this. Both games going into game 3, and we still had 2.5, 3 weeks left in the regular season. So I'll admit to you guys, I simulated the rest of the season. We still had 21 or so games left in the regular season. Nobody was going to catch us. When I started simulating, we had like 109 or some odd wins, so no one was really going to catch us. So we have simulated all the way up to the playoffs. As you can see where it says postseason, we'll get the Mariners in the first round of the playoffs. But today we're just going to kind of do a brief video real quick, kind of going over the end of the regular season. Some guys who may be relying some awards, some stats. We had some guys lead the league in some spots. So we're going to take a look at that real quick. And guys, I'm not going to have that extended absence. I promise you guys, from here on out until the World Series is over, we're going to have Pelican playoff baseball every day until the season is over. That's the other reason I wanted to simulate. There's some other plans I had for this channel moving forward. One, it's football season, guys. I don't know about you, but I've been wanting to maybe get into some football games, maybe do that once or twice a week, maybe some hockey games. I definitely wanted to cover Power Pros. We'll maybe do some other modes. Plus, I have a Power Pros side project I've been working on 3 years in the making. We'll see if I can finish that this year, but I want to try and cover some of that stuff too as I get it going. So just a little future preview for the channel if you're listening to this video. And I've said on other previous occasions I should have an X account so I can talk to you guys and let you guys know what's going. I gotta put that together so I can talk to you guys. So all that stuff is coming up on the channel here in the near future. First, we'll take a look and see how the Pelicans, how we fared even with the simulation. Here's your standings. Absolutely blew the Tribe and the White Sox away. You'll recall that the Indians and White Sox, when we last checked the standings, were both well below 500s. The Indians made a late charge. They actually missed the playoffs by 2 games. They almost snuck in as a wild card, but just missed out. The Angels will sneak in as the wild card in the American League with 86 wins. So not quite enough for the Indians to get in there. And you see the rest of the division, how it lines up. Speaking of the American League West and the Angels, I'm sorry, the Angels won the division. The Mariners got the wild card. So that's why we have the Mariners in the first round. So they just outdid the Astros and the Indians by 2 games. So that's the American League West. Here's the American League East. The Yankees ran away and hid 97 wins there, ahead of Toronto by 15. So they won the division pretty easy. As we take a look at that National League now, the division winner Marlins 102, surprising Marlins 102 wins on the season. Phillies 94 wins, they're your wild card winner. The Mets are going to be the hard luck losers in the National League. 92 wins would have been good enough to win either one of the remaining 2 divisions, as you see, but in typical Met fashion, they did something right and still can't manage to get in the playoffs, so they'll have to contemplate that and where they can make up the room in the offseason to sneak into the playoffs. The Brewers win the Central, 11 games ahead of the Cardinals, so pretty easy at the end there for the Brew Crew. And out of the West, the Diamondbacks and Rockies in a tie. The Diamondbacks win the division as on a tie break. So that came down right to the wire last day for that. So the Rockies just miss, and the Diamondbacks are in the National League West. Excuse me. Take a look at the overall Major League standings. 200 game winners, us and the Marlins. That wasn't on my bingo card to have the Marlins finish with 100 wins when we started this season one. That's definitely a surprise to me. Yankees, Phillies, the Mets, the fifth best record in the major leagues, and they missed the playoffs, so that hurts. And we take a look at everybody else. Wild card winners, the Rockies missing on a tiebreak. So that's how your standings shake out. And here's your postseason bracket. We get the Mariners to start the ALBS by virtue of having the best record in the American League. Angels and Yankees over on the other side. And you see the Diamondbacks and Marlins in the first round of the DS on the one side of the bracket, and the Phillies and the Brewers will duke it out on the bottom right side of the bracket. We'll keep an eye on those, see how they go. We'll take a look now at some season stats for the Pelicans. We'll take a look at that as we take a look at the pitching staff first. A lot of innings thrown by guys that don't have ace stamina, and I think that in the beginning of the season, the pitching staff was all messed up, so these guys are missing starts. So pretty impressive. Green and Key, 169 plus innings apiece for the two of them. Green, a 3.18 ERA. He'll edge out Key. I don't think he's going to win the ERA title, but boy, was he close as we take a look at the rest of the ERAs for most of the staff. The starting staff, excuse me, not so bad. Phil Hughes and McDaniel, maybe the only not so great spots with ERAs over 4 and 5. Hopefully will be on the postseason roster though, pitching out of the 4 and 5 spot. Hopefully get enough just out of those guys to get by here. As we take a look at that. Wins, Key fell just short of 20. He'll win 19 on the season, with only the one loss. And Phil Hughes won 15, Green 13, Pelfrey 11. So a lot of W's from the staff as they put together a heck of a season. Saves-wise, Eldridge, I peeked and went ahead. Those 42 saves led Major League Baseball. J.J. Putz was second with 38. So shout out to Eldridge. I gave him a hard time and he certainly had his moments where he was shaky, but the 42 saves, that's going to be kind of hard to argue at that. I'm only pulling up the holds because Chris Ray led all of baseball with 27 holds. Tommy had tied for 6th with 18. So that end of the bullpen doing a really good job coming in close games and holding down the fort. As we look at the batting stats, Melky, 2 guys over 400 that qualified for the batting for season-long average. Melky is your league leader. He will win the batting title with a 411 average. Velarde was right behind him at 406. Markakis 380. A lot of impressive averages up there for the Pelicans for the season, as we were just dumping hits everywhere. Callaway leads all of baseball, 73 doubles for Callaway. I believe that was a leader. We'll take a look at that. Markakis, an offensive juggernaut, 68. That's the one thing I really wish I had not. That's the one regret right here, is not getting Markakis 70 home runs. We'll have to wait for season 2. But that's with me not having Markakis for a month to start the season. He's still at 68, so definitely a play for him when season 2 comes around. 195 RBIs, 148 runs scored. You figure he should win the MVP. We'll get those awards after the playoffs are over. So one whale of a season for Markakis. And the last one we'll take a look at here is stolen bases. Velarde is going to lead the league by a wide margin. The next closest person, I think, is in the 30s somewhere. I think Melky might even be 2 with his 39. So good seasons all around from the Pelicans there. As we'll take a look at the overall standings. And if I use that button, it goes faster. Excuse me. As we take a look at all of Major League Baseball. And there's your batting average leaders. 4 guys inside the top 6, and like Melky leading the way, won the batting title with a 411 average. Velarde at 406. Markakis hit 380. He'll finish 4th, and Callaway 361 in the 6th position. And nobody else down any lower. Smitherman next year at 17th with a 333 batting average. So once we made those trades, guys, everyone just took off, and our offense from about May on was just kind of unstoppable once we made all those trades. Hits-wise, Velarde led the league in base hits with 256, and multiple guys here with 200 hits on the team. Melky 246, 249, Markakis 223. You're sure that'll keep up in the playoffs with all the hits. And there it is for your doubles leaders. 3 guys in the top 3. Callaway led all of baseball at 73. Markakis 61. Fields tied for 3rd at 58. Lots and lots of offense. Triples. We didn't hit a lot of triples, guys. Not a lot of guys on the team with gap power and that type of speed. I think we only really had a couple as the season went on. So not really. Maybe next year, once we get some guys with some more speed, maybe we get some guys up here to get some triples. We don't exactly have the ballpark for it either, unless it gets into those gaps and rolls to that little cutout in center field. That's the only way we're going to see triples. Home runs, like I said, Markakis led the league, and Fields was 3rd at 52. Travis Hafner just edges him out for that 2nd spot. But like a huge offensive output from Markakis as he led the league in home runs, RBIs, runs scored. Just fell short on the batting average, or else he would have won the Triple Crown. Next year is another year. We'll see if he can get it next year. My money would be on it for sure. And we'll look at stolen bases, and flying away 21 more stolen bases than Rafael Furcal. Velarde is your stolen bases king. Melky Cabrera comes in tied for 5th with 39, so 2 guys at the top of the lineup just create absolute havoc once they got on the base paths. And with those guys coming back next year and all that speed, you can bet that teams are going to have a hard time again keeping us from stealing bases. So good luck, and the playoffs, they're going to have a hard time too, because it's not like we're going to stop stealing bases either. Though Velarde and Cabrera were picked off quite a bit. But we'll just ignore that stat for the time being. And then we'll take a look at your pitching stats. Kyle Loesch, your ERA, a leader, 2.17. Green finishes 4th with a 3.18. Key finishes 6th with a 3.35. So solid, good seasons put together by Key and Green. Those guys are going to head up our rotation for quite a while, and teams are going to have to deal with them in the playoffs. So a really good 1-2 at the top of our rotation, and showing through with those ERA numbers. And right there is what hurts with simulating the last couple of games. Key doesn't get to 20 wins, ties with Kyle Loesch for 19. If we go a little bit lower here, Hughes actually finished inside the top 10 despite the large ERA, won 15 games. And Green only won 13. I'm not quite sure. We had a lot of problems at the beginning of the year, too. Offense wasn't scoring. That's why Green is down so far. You can bet that those win totals are going to go way up next year. Whoops, the wrong button. And speaking of L's, here are your starting pitchers holding L's. Shields, Millwood, Wainwright led the league in losses with 16. Not a stat you want to lead in. Here's your saves leader. Eldridge led all of baseball, like I said, at 42, and I was right. It was J.J. Putz right behind him at 39. So a good job, despite my always saying hold your breath. Here comes Eldridge. A good job by him holding down the fort with 42 saves. So 42 out of 52. Not a bad conversion percentage for Eldridge. And there's your holds leader. Like I said, Chris Ray leads all of baseball, 27 holds. So a good job from Chris Ray. Definitely had his issues when he came over from us from Baltimore. Was off to a rough start until I figured out how to use them. and then put together a really solid season for the Pelicans. Strikeouts, guys, we didn't strike out a lot of guys. That's just the way it was. We induced a lot of ground ball outs. We just didn't really have a lot of strikeout quality pitchers. So I don't even know how low we would be on that list, as I hit the wrong button again. I'm not even going to go looking. But I'm not really worried about that, as our pitchers were very effective at getting outs. Home runs surrendered. Oh my God, Boof Bonser gave up 45 home runs? Yeesh. That's terrible. That's really bad. Phil Hughes inside the top 10. That's a bad one right there. Gave 27. That sounds about right. Phil Hughes would just, it always felt like he'd be cruising along, and then he would just have these innings where he just would get out of control for him. So that kind of sounds about right for Phil Hughes. And maybe we can get that straightened out. McDaniel, not much better, gave 23. A lot of those were probably early when we had to play those. Those guys, I'd like to see their splits between how many times they actually pitched against the White Sox and the Indians. That certainly would hurt their numbers, that's for sure. Quality starts. We don't have anybody up here, though. Yeah, I mean, even though we had a lot of guys with a lot of wins, Kyle Loesch with all those quality starts, that does it for the league leaders. Gold gloves, stuff like that. We'll get MVPs and all that stuff after the season is over. Is there anything else I wanted to take a look at here? Let's see. So we'll take a look at our awards for the season. We had quite a bit. Individual titles, these would be the guys leading the season. We went over this stuff already. Individual leaders. All right, so no, we don't have any of these awards yet. These will come after the season is over. We'll get those. Player of the Week awards, we won quite a bit. After we got past week 4, week 5, you'll see Markakis, Callaway. Markakis' name is going to pop up quite a bit in a lot of these. Melky Cabrera won it 1 week. There's Fields again. Markakis again. So a lot of Player of the Week awards for the Pelicans. Player of the Month awards. There's your American League Player of the Month for April. Was Velarde when he stole all those bases. May was Callaway. Let's see if we can work backwards here. I simulated a lot for the month of September, so no Pelicans from September. August, Markakis was your Player of the Month in the American League. 513, 22 home runs, 64 RBIs. And look at all these guys we had in July. Pitcher of the Month was Key. Rookie of the Month was Key. Player of the Month was Markakis with some ridiculous numbers. And same thing with June. Just switch out Fields, and Key won it again. And Callaway dominated Rookie of the Month. So you would think Rookie of the Year is going to go through Jacksonville as well as MVP voting as well. That's all I can think of that I wanted to go over. The lineup is going to look the same as it did during the regular season. All our AAA guys are back in AAA. So that'll be our lineup. The only way, no rotating out the bench, obviously, with the playoffs. Duff, Mark, Tankersley, Barnwell, the only way they'll see the field would be if there's an injury. Let's hope that doesn't happen. And there's your rotation and bullpen staff. Same as it was in the regular season. Key, Green, Pelfrey, Hughes, McDaniel. Geddes actually did a really good job. He came up sometime after the All-Star break, and I just threw him in the swingman position, and he was coming in mainly to pitch like the 6th inning if anybody couldn't get through 5. Did a really good job in that role, and Stratton did a good job in that role as well. Those two guys splitting early inning relief duty, and then definitely the guys in the back of the end of the bullpen, Hermanson, Kamiya, specifically since they were drafted. Both guys with ERAs under 3 to end the season did an awesome job helping to settle down the bullpen that really struggled for a lot of the season. It helped settle it down, and we were able to start getting that under control a little bit. So I think that's all that we really need to cover here, guys, as we're done with the regular season. Postseason videos are to follow. Like I said, we're going to try and follow through every single one of these postseason videos. We're going to try and do it without a break. That's my goal. And then once the postseason here is done, there will be season 2 of Pelican baseball, but we're going to take a little bit of a break from that. We're going to play some football games. We're going to play some hockey games. And like I said, there's a Power Pros project I've been working on. I want to try and finally finish that. It's 3 years in the making, and I almost finished it last year. Didn't quite get it done. I'm going to try and do it this year. Hopefully we can get that. And there's other modes in this game too. We might walk you through some success mode and all that stuff. So we're still going to have some videos coming out for the video after the postseason is done, and all gearing up to season 2 of Pelican baseball once the playoffs are over. So anyway, guys, that will do it for this video. Thanks as always for tuning in. I apologize for the extended absence. My voice is all better, so I'm ready and raring to go. And until next time, guys, this is Scott with Cheap Seats Gaming. Everyone have a good one, and we'll see you tomorrow for the start of playoff Pelican baseball. Everybody have a good one. We will see you guys tomorrow. Take it easy, fellas.